This is the third episode of the Wrestlevlogs Podcast. We're here with our host, Chase.
Hey.
We're here with our other host, Julio.
What's
up? And our guest, he is one half of the former heavy metal tag team champions, the Snake of Laredo. He is the Realtor of Reality, Dyl Dempsey.
Hey, y'all. First of all, who's Paul? And second of all, hey, I don't consider Snake an insult anymore because I'll be slithering some dosages of reality to those who need it, buddy.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Damn, Paul.
Paul.
Yeah, all right. So, Dempsey, how are you doing? How's the situation over there in Laredo going?
Hey, man. I wish I could throw a little white lie in there and say I'm doing, great. But, mostly, man, it's just, impatience. It's like that itch to get back out there because especially with everything going on and how limited things are nowadays, I'm used to anywhere from 2 to 4 shows a week on the normal, but now it's like greatly reduced to 1. So it's like, oh, great. I got to sit at home and wait more, and then the city itself doesn't seem to be too much trouble as far as I'm seeing. Just the typical, here's HEB, 5 a.m. at 500,000 people. But besides that, I don't see any panic really from my end, hopefully.
Yeah, same here in the valley. It's Laredo's pretty much similar, somewhat similar to the valley. What you described is pretty much what we're doing over here. But the valley's better, of course.
Well, if y'all were one unit instead of 50 towns, then yeah.
So, 4 shows a week. I think I can name 3 of those. Is that Wrestling Revolution, the LWA, and Valley Wrestling matches?
Well, there's not really a constant as much. Like Heavy Metal Thunder was every Thursday, but sadly that got disbanded in November last year. And LWA's sometimes every Saturday, like small little shows leading to the big show. I haven't been much to WR as of late, but on Fridays it's either there or TWA in San Antonio. And Valley Wrestling matches, that's like every 3 weeks, maybe. So, it's like a roulette of shows. The only constant being World Class Pro Wrestling in Carrollton every Thursday, kind of like near Dallas, more or less.
And you would wrestle also at Dax Promotions, correct?
Yes. Usually Sundays are like my most free out of the weekend, and I've been there more constantly, actually, and it's pretty fun. It's a nice experience over there, that crazy flea market crowd. They're into it, man, the Sunday afternoons.
Yeah. I liked it. There's some matches that are pretty decent, but there's some that are just like nonsense. Ain't that right, Zilla?
That's Lucha.
Dax Promotion is like, let's get all of these guys together. Let's not give anybody a finish, and let's let the ref do whatever he wants. That's sums up Dax
dude.
Promotion.
I got a story about one of those idiot refs, man. Oh my God.
Cool.
Okay, so bear with me.
The Chocolate?
No. As much as I like to pick on him, no, he's cool. It's that, I don't know his name. It's not Rigo, but the other guy that like drinks before the shows. Looks like a normal
guy
bystander.
that looks like he's on a ton of cocaine. He's got
like he has bags on his eyes.
He just shows up.
Yes, that guy. So
what happened with him?
Long story short, because me and Raxo are like the main regular Laredo guys that go, and we're kind of like, hey, let's bring these guys down so Dak himself could watch and see, like we can use these guys for a show, kind of like a quote unquote tryout. So it was me and Joe Star, or Kaiju Adams. He's a 5-star graduate along with me, so I worked with him plenty of times. So I'm like, okay, let's just have fun out there. Boom, 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 bam. And then we went over a finish and everything. And it's like, okay, this is the finish. But of course, we didn't know who our ref was. And when we finally found out it was that guy, it's like, oh, great, because my Spanish speaking is not that great. So I was like, just don't kick out in the finish. So I was supposed to go over with my finish, of course. And typical lucha refs, but this guy was to the extreme. He was for the faces and would fast count. Like in 2 seconds would be a 3 count. And then for the heels, he'd take 5 seconds to even get to 1. Like, it was annoying. So I was like, okay, let's just deal with it. So to me, having Joestar kicking out, like, not even at 1 because of how slow the ref is, kind of like undersells everything, makes me look weak, makes him look like $1 million. It's like, this ref, man, like, whatever. So we just deal with it. And suddenly things are getting all right. Like, the match is good despite this ref. So during the comeback, he pins me for like one of his signatures. And this ref does the fastest count ever to where I kick out, but still he counts it as a 3 and I lost. And I threw a fit at that ref, man. But he's just there not understanding what I'm saying. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. And I go to the back and everybody's cheering. And then they see me pissed off. They're like, wait, what happened? That was good. I'm like, that idiot ref counted the wrong winner. That drunk referee. So safe to say he's never reffing my matches again, because screw that. That's Dak Promotions. Sometimes.
Yeah, that sums up Dak Promotions.
Yep, in a nutshell.
The one show I went to, like, the heels were cutting like a promo, and it seemed like nobody expected the promo, and suddenly everybody had now a promo. And people are just like, what's going on? Like, what do you guys, like, nobody cares about what they're saying, but each one feels so strongly about cutting a promo. And everyone's just, I don't know, man.
Oh, I seen it.
You seen shit?
Damas y caballeros, alten Texas. It's like, what?
Like, it's going to be a terrible match when the ref has an intro.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
Oh my god. Chocolates, man, cracks me up. That damn siren all the time. I'm like, why?
Damn, I've never been really traveled outside of San Antonio for a show, but deadass, I might just go all the way down to Laredo just to see this shit.
Oh no, this is in the valley.
Yeah, this is in the
valley. Oh, fuck.
It's in Alton.
Yeah, and it's every Sunday, isn't it?
Every Sunday at like 2.
Like at 3, lucha time, 3:30.
Yeah. 3:30 really means 4:30.
Oh no, because they say 2:30, but then like at 3:30, primera lucha, da. It's like
no. It's like the card says 2:00, and then it's 5 till 3, and they're like primera llamada. What? That means you guys have like 10 minutes,
right? The one constant you're always gonna see and laugh at Dak if you ever go. There's just 2 guys in the ring, ready to go. All of a sudden, wait, where's the ref? And then full blast, Scooby-Doo Papa playing, full blast. And it's damn chocolate. Oh my god.
No, and then you've got the guys in the ring, and there's 30 kids running around the ring, inside the ring. They're inside, like, running around.
God.
Don't get me started.
This is gonna be an hour podcast of bearing lucha shows.
I've known
shows. So that's about the lucha shows. You know how they lose, right? They lose, and then they're like, "What's up, Alton?" I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? You just lost."
Oh my god! And
Right
here's the most stereotypical. Sorry. Here's the most stereotypical thing. After like a 30-minute hard-fought grudge match, they get they get the mic, do the promo, and at the next show, your hair versus mask, blah, 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 blah. Of course, it never happens.
Oh, no. No.
I've seen that so many times.
I thought you were going to go with the 30-minute hard-fought match. The losers go out and they grab the mic, and first thing out of their mouth, primera cosa, quiero darle gracias a todos por venir aquí. It's like, what?
No, that too.
Like,
and then that leads to the match.
Yeah, it's like you're thanking the crowd
for losing.
I guess we'll switch off the lucha.
Damn. So,
yep.
On the topic of promotions, this time a actually good promotion, heavy metal wrestling.
Ooh, yeah.
So, Dempsey, I just got a few questions about your time in Heavy Metal Thunder, most notably when you're teaming up with Rob Love.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, that infamous... Oh, I forgot what episode it was. Well, when it was, but the episode... The stipulation was if you lost, you would have to kiss Rob's feet or something like that, right?
Yeah, July 2018.
There we go.
I'm good with dates, so.
I'm not. So
I got you.
So mainly what I do want to talk about is, can you tell me like more about your partnership with Rob Love, and kind of like what led to you and Johnathan Life eventually completely splitting away from all that and going on to become the second heavy metal tag team champs?
Ooh, well, where should I start? Well, I guess I'll get started on how I met both these guys and how it transitioned into that. But both me and Johnathan, born and raised in Laredo, we started a few months apart when it came to wrestling. I was in November of 13 and he was in March of 14, I believe. And we never really crossed paths until like 2016 maybe. And slowly from surely, our friendship from there just grew. Our brotherhood, traveling everywhere each and every week with Thunder and all that. And that's how we got basically close and started teaming up since like 2017, started in Laredo. And with Rob, I met him at this like a small town, Gonzales, Texas, in front of a barn show that had like maybe 75, 80 people. And I never knew him. Like I've heard of him, but I never met him. This was like in 17 as well, I believe, like in the fall. And the thing about Rob is, if you don't know him personally, he's one of those old school notorious ribbers. And oh God, I was one of his whipping boys for a while. That's all I can tell you right now. So
like, what is one of his best ribs?
Oh man, like for some it would be best, but then for me it's like, okay, are we done here kind of thing, because I've been through it with him, So there's the times where I could tell you one of the ones he did to me and one of the ones he did to another guy virtually at the same place, which was just bad. But the worst he done to me is he'd randomly go inside my bag and he'd get someone to hide my car like the other side of the building or something, and I'd go crazy looking for my car. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'm trying to leave. And he's having a laugh at it, and he makes it obvious. He's just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like laughing and all that. And it's like, yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah, I love Rob.
Yeah, I love to hate him. Nah, I don't mind him. But, oh, man, this one was just brutal.
Sorry, go on.
You're good. This one was not on me, but this is one I witnessed at the same place. This was in the Kings and Queens Ballroom in New Braunfels for LWA, I think, or Blockbuster Wrestling, one of those at the time. And referee Michael Atwell, I'm sure y'all heard of that name, right? You've heard of that guy?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. The Laredo ref. And he was there, and the first part of this story is a little hazy. I'm trying to remember exactly, but it had something to do where Joey Ryan was on the show. Like, this is kind of in context, but nothing really. It doesn't involve him entirely. But or I think he was there. I'm not sure, leading to another show. But it started with Rob and Ray Chavarria, Ace getting his phone, and they would change his profile picture to like Joey Ryan and all that, and like while hiding his phone, and he's freaking out because he's reffing matches while this is going on, and he couldn't find his phone for like the last 2 hours, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I could just ping it, like, on the Apple Watch or whatever. So Rob's trying to freak out, hide the phone at the other side of the building, and Atwell's just losing it at this point. And when he finally gets his phone back, he's like, oh, what the is this? I got all these things on my phone, these pictures and questions. It's like, but that's just the beginning. What ended it all? Oh my God, dude. And I wasn't there for most of this part because I couldn't stand it. I'm like, guys, I'm just going to leave. This is just too much. I got to drive home 2.5, 3 hours home. So apparently, because Atwell hitched a ride with, I think Ray and some of the other guys. And I think all of a sudden they just pulled all of us and just like, guys, move your cars and hide them. Just pretend we're leaving, blah, blah, blah. And then Atwell's like just got done changing. He's like, hey, where did everybody go? They're like, oh, they left. And he's like, yeah, nice try. So he's looking out the window and he's like, wait, what the hell? Opens the door and looks, it's empty. The parking lot's like dead empty. So Atwell's just kind of freaking out. And apparently he was like on the phone with, I think, his fiance at the time. And he's like, they left me. And then I'm not sure what happened there, but they eventually got back and they're like, we got you. And that was a Rob idea. So that goes to show what he can do.
Oh, I fucking love him more now. I love him more.
God damn. But, man, I got lost. Oh, no, yeah. This is where we're getting at. My bad. Yes. So, little fun fact. I was in the first ever Heavy Metal Thunder match in Halloween 2018. That's a small little tidbit right there.
Hey.
So, boom, trivia right there. But I'm going to skip ahead to like, I think this was like in March or February of 19. And this is when me and Johnathan started going up every week at this point. And to this day, I don't know if this was a Dunbar idea or a Rob idea, but he noticed that, like, me and Rob and all of them would like share the same cards sometimes, especially in LWA. And he's like, oh, you know what, man? We got this idea that you guys are going to be basically like a Kingdom of Love, like a royal trio. You're going to be you're going to be the Jester and you're going to be the Knight and all that. So it was basically Jester Dempsey and Johnathan Life. That's how it all began. Wow. And then the genius of this man, of how much I miss this man, being around him and getting his knowledge, Terrell Tempo, was actually like, y'all should get like a nightcap and a Jester hat and all that. So we literally went to like Party City, and then I went to eBay and we bought like these cheap looking little like knight helmets and Jester things that we had for a little while, because it's like, hey, might as well just live the gimmick, live the character for a little bit. So this was an idea of when Rob did something similar, I think in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, to where he had a servant or like a loyal subject, and like he would just abuse him, like make him his whipping boy, use him as stairs to get into the ring, like basically the stuff he did to us in a few months. And eventually it would grow so much sympathy to the point where like this man finally snapped on Rob and boom, the place exploded. So that was basically the similar idea that Dunbar and them wanted to go over, and Rob, of course, orchestrated most, if not all of that. And there was a few ideas here and there that we put in there. And eventually the end all be all was to see if we can shine through eventually as a tag team or single stars opposing against Rob and the commission. This was like a little before the commission started. And
yeah, I remember.
Man.
I remember.
Yeah, the dastardly commission. But dude, it was, the commission. It was a good time. It was something to get out of my shell, like not my shell, but get out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I'm used to being, like the Realtor Of Reality, kind of like an intense, loudmouth wrestling kind of guy. But it's like, I incorporated like the pinkies up, shut up thing. I incorporated
that.
Yeah, and funny story, I actually got that from SpongeBob. Remember when in doubt, pinkies out?
I fucking figured you did. God
so there's
damn
your
it,
secret, fellas.
So okay, so true shit. So I was actually there when you and Johnathan split up from Rob Love. I was there at that taping of Thunder.
Oh,
fun
small
fact.
world.
Yeah, no, well, I'm gonna get on that here and we'll get more on that because I got more shit to talk about. Anyway, so the girl I was talking to at the time, I brought her to one of those shows, and she didn't know what the fuck was going on at all.
Oh no!
And next thing you know, she's just like, "Why the fuck is that guy kissing that guy's feet?" And I was like, "That's Dempsey, that's Johnathan, that's blah, 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 blah. He's this." Blah, blah, blah. I'm just going off, and she's just like,
"Watch the stream."
Okay, I don't really get it, but then like she just fell in love with Rob Love, and so like she would go like without me, so she would like purposely send me Snapchats of the pinkies up thing, and I would just be like, I'll be like, I fucking hate you, don't ever talk to me again. I was like, we don't cheer the heels, we cheer the faces. She's like, no, I do.
101.
No, but kind of like on that note, I was also there for the final episode of Thunder when you finally won the tag team champs with Johnathan Life.
40 degrees and everything.
Yeah, I remember there. So funny enough, so I was there at that show. It was completely like spur of the moment. My D&D group canceled on me, so me and my buddy were like, "Yo, fuck it, let's just go see the last episode of Thunder in this freezing ass weather." And we saw your boys, Brandon and Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
So, funny enough, so me and Brandon, we've been friends since middle school. We've been friends for a while, and that's we reunited. And so we're just chilling there. And then I didn't know the match card at all. And I see you guys on. I was like, oh, marking out. I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
they're there. So, man, I tell you what, when I saw you guys win, I fucking lost it. I was just, holy shit. I remember when these guys broke off. Hell, I remember this one time I was at another Thunder taping, and I called you a dildo.
Oh, God.
And you threatened to fight me in the parking lot while in the ring.
Oh, one of my favorite insults. Oh, we'll take this outside. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember the insult, but I can't particularly remember when. It must have been a tag match, though.
Yeah, I don't remember when either, but I just yelled. It went all silent, and I just yelled, "You're a dildo!" And you go, "Who the fuck says that?" And I go, "I did." And he looked dead at. I don't know how he's spotting, but he looked dead at me, and you go, "All right, we're taking this in the fucking parking lot afterwards, bitch." And I go, "All right, bitch."
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't say that much profanity, and I have to go back to that. But yeah, something.
Anyway,
I took the PG version of that, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Anyway, so I was there, and man, I was fucking excited. In fact, I'm actually in the promo picture. I think I'm to your right, on like your right shoulder. You or Jonathan's. I'm on one of y'all's shoulders, and I'm like, yeah, he's got the title. So. How does it feel knowing you became the second heavy metal tag team champ? Like, what are all the emotions going through when you first won that title?
Whew, I gotta tell you, man. This kind of sort of goes back a little bit because, full disclosure, this was kind of at a time where me and John were kind of unsure in a way of our direction, and without going too much into it, ever since the whole breakup of the Kingdom to when we were fired for 2 weeks, came back and everything, it was like, okay, let's take this week by week and see how it goes and how it would organically work out. And we were told maybe about like a month or a month and a half in advance that the plan for now is to cap it off with winning the tag team titles, like a feel good, like finally underdog moment. And I'll tell you, man, it was pressure, because you got these two kids from Laredo who were on the very first episode, another fun fact, separate matches and kind of being relatively unknown to that sort of kind of audience that eventually grew to be the heavy metal fan base, to where, you know, we were both goofy idiots in the kingdom of love and they managed to like us there. It's like, whoa, I don't know what we're doing, but this is working. We're just going to go on autopilot here and go with the flow. And right when it finally happened, I mean, we were holding back tears, the both of us, you know, and what kept us going is like, all of a sudden you see streamers in the ring. I'm like, wait, what the hell? And then all of y'all, and it's like, whoa, you know, it was too much to take in such a little amount of time.
Awesome.
But it was, you know, it was awesome, man. And it was one of those, like, you close the book and you're happy kind of deal. Like, this was a story building for months and months and months to bam, finally we take it to the commission one time.
That was, that match was, side note, again, that match was amazing. The emotion, like the amount of work you guys put in, the end was just, loved it. Up there was one of my favorite Heavy Metal Thunder, if not just my favorite wrestling moments in general. You know, because like, I like what you said. Like, I was there from, you know, again, when you guys were teaming with Rob Love to when y'all split away, y'all did your own thing, and then now that was just like, wow. Those are they did it. They fucking did it. The underdogs, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, man. And it wasn't easy, I'll tell you, because Dream Team, as big as they are, they hit harder than it looks, man. So it's a challenge, man.
There's some tough motherfuckers.
Oh
They're
yeah,
tough.
I mean, it took us like 4 times to finally beat them, but we did it. 4 times a charm, 3 or 4 times.
Exactly. I remember one of my best friend, Matt, who I always go with. The only time he's legitimately been like, oh shit, maybe I should have said that, was when he insulted the Dre team and he said their chains were fake.
Oh god.
They got in his face and he was like, oh shit. I kind of
the Dre team?
Yeah. The Dre team got in his face and he was just like,
I didn't say anything.
That is the only time where like I've legitimately seen him like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said that. And it became like an inside joke where I was like, hey, you know what you should do? Insult their chains. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
No, I want to live.
He's like, nah, I'm good. At that show, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if you just insulted their chains right now? He's like, no, it wouldn't be funny. It would not.
Oh, no. According to them, it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, but then we started the knockoff Crime Time chant, so it kind of paid off.
Oh, my. Bootleg Crime Time?
What do we say? It was like bootleg Crime Time, bootleg New Day.
Yes.
God,
shout out to Rod, by the way. Rod Bradley. I love that guy.
Oh, man.
The Belt Man.
Funny enough, I tried making peace with him. I offered my belt as a peace offering. He fucking knocked it down.
Oh, I have a Rock
story.
That match? Oh, no.
I think it was during y'all's match where I was like, hey, I got a belt for you. And he knocks it off, throws it straight up, throws it out of my hand. I'm like, wait a minute, I kind of actually need that belt. And I think it was either Roland or Rudy. I forgot who it was. But he like, oh shit, he kicked it over to me. So I just kind of picked it up and put it back on. And I was like,
never mind.
I was like, I tried being your friend, okay.
Oh man, I got a belt tossing story that tops that.
Oh god.
Oh man, this one's albeit brief, but this was at a show in Austin at AAW Pro, and I think it was during. I'm trying to remember who the guy was. It was Mance Warner and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name because this was back like last March, I think. But he legitimately, you know, like it was like this no DQ match, of course, like in street fight rules. And Rod's just kind of there like, yeah, like get it in his face. So Mance just yanks the belt off him and chucks it all the way backstage across the other side of the building. And everyone's just, And I'm like, well, someone stood up to him. So Mance Warner was a hero that day.
I love Mance Warner now.
Yeah, same here.
I
I'm just
tried
trying
being
to remember
his,
who
I
he
was like,
was.
hey man, I offered you my belt as a peace offering. That's what you do. Hey man, I paid top dollar for that Vans belt. Fuck you. Don't throw it on the ground like that.
Don't throw it.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, Dempsey. So, let's talk a little bit more about your young career. So
Go for it.
I did some research, and you went by the name Dyl Dynamite, correct?
Yes, that's when I first started.
Okay, so is there any similarities or differences between Dyl Dempsey and Dyl Dynamite, or?
Let me get to that. Not really, but technically, yes. If I can explain a little bit more without being too too vague, I guess. But the name Dyl Dynamite, it's the typical, hey, like I've been watching since I was a kid. I want to be a wrestler kind of thing. And I think in fifth grade when I decided, hey, I'm gonna try Dyl Dynamite, and I even like went to, I think, SmackDown versus Raw 2007. This is how long ago this was, and like designed gear there. And if you've seen that old school gear with like the 2Ds on the side, like the 1980s looking gear, that's exactly how I made it. And I'm like, hey, this is simple, this is fun, and whatever, So I was like that for the first 2.5 years until eventually, I'll probably get to this a little later of why I changed it to Dyl Dempsey. But long story short, there's really not too many similarities because Dyl Dynamite was a kid, trying to live his dream, trying to wrestle, get out there, and just live that dream that he's been wanting to live forever, since 7 years old. And now Dyl Dempsey is someone who knows who he is, who's kind of found himself, is comfortable being Dyl Dempsey, not just a kid still kind of shy, learning the ropes kind of deal. So it's two completely different, in that perspective, if you get what I'm saying.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't want to get too psychological.
So talk to us. Your first match, how did it go down?
Oh boy. Okay, you guys are going to see a theme with this. Like, I can't just answer because sometimes I like to go to the backstory. So it's not like, wait, why? You get me? So here's another backstory, but it's a good one, I promise. It should be.
Okay, I love a good story.
Yeah. So this was in Laredo, of course, and I was 17, about to be 18. In the summer of 2013, small fun fact for San Antonio, the wrestling shop, right, on that mall?
Oh, you know what? I think I've heard this story before from Oscar. Who owns the shop?
Well, let me tell you my side. All good, though. Yeah, Oscar is basically the guy who broke me in a way and introduced me.
He told me about that.
Yeah, so since I'll just say a little bit of details, for like Zilla and Julio, who probably haven't heard this, but it won't be too drabby. So it was in the summer, and I was like one of the regular customers. Me and Kyrie were like the regular customers there, and all of a sudden he started to run wrestling shop promotions in Laredo. And when we heard about this, we're like, hey, like, let's see what's up. Maybe we can finally like have a match or whatever. But this was before like I knew the concept of the business when it came to like how important training was in the ring. How like I was still a kid. I was like 17, going to be 18, just trying to get out there. So I talked to Oscar, and he's like, well, our next show is going to be on November, so you're going to be 18 by that time. So I would recommend just, wait till then. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, no problem. And here's the funny story. So I think it was a week before the actual show. Get you not. Again, this is the kid in me. I went to Academy and spent like $100 on quote unquote wrestling gear.
Oh man.
So
you didn't go to Hot Topic? Get the Hot Topic gear? The Hardy Boy gear?
Actually, no. This is just kind of like if you hit random in WWF Attitude and like, bam, there's your creative wrestler kind of thing. But so literally what it was, I'm sure it's still out there when I put the first gear, current gear, but it was basketball shorts, these long red socks, kick pads with, okay, straight up, these were UFC kick pads that I covered with a logo on them so it doesn't show UFC. Quote unquote wrestling shoes to cover, my feet so I'm not barefooted. A black shirt, black knee pads, black elbow pads, white wrist tape, like looking like Tommy Dreamer or something, but with no training whatsoever. So I'm a senior in high school, so it's like this is all I could talk about. It's like, oh, I got tickets to the show and blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden the show got rained out, and I'm like, oh, great, like I was bragging about this, and now it's canceled till next week. So then it was November 30th, the actual date, and I find out I'm in the main event, which is a Royal Rumble style match. And like the winner becomes like the first ever WSP champion or something. So I'm like, whoa, I'm in a main event with all these guys in a Rumble. And it's like, wait, what? So I'm like excited and nervous, trying to hide my nerves. I'm like, oh, but people could tell already, like I'm this new kid. They're like, oh, why did you have gear on? Or where do you train? Blah, 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 blah. But this was before I knew the concept of all that. So I was just happy to be there. And the match itself, nothing really home to write about. I was in there for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Got to do a few little things here and there, and got thrown over. And I was safe, thankfully, for a guy who had very limited training, like barely getting the rolls down, not learning how to properly bump. I was okay. And here's a little funny side note with that. So I'm in the back after it, and I'm like, whoa, I'm surprised I'm not hurt, So then here's this guy. Mind you, this guy, his name's Prince. He was a big bodybuilding kind of guy who also wrestled at the time. And all of a sudden, just gives me the loudest chop I've taken. I'm like, oh, and he's like, was that real? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So that was basically my first night at a casino parking lot in front of like 120 people.
Damn.
Yep, pay your dues, people.
All right, so I mean, you've wrestled here in WR in the Valley and DAC Promotions, Valley Wrestling matches. I guess who broke you into like bringing you down here to the Valley, or did you kind of just venture off on your own and find bookings? Like how'd you get your first booking here in the Valley?
That's an interesting one, actually. Actually, my first Valley show was in I think August 2015 with VWM, Valley Wrestling matches in Hidalgo. And this guy, I don't know if y'all heard of him, but he used to wrestle in Laredo, Dirty Sanchez. Have y'all heard of that guy?
Oh my God!
Don't
Is
think
it
so.
Yeah.
Sanchez that wrestles in Lucha Vavoom?
I don't
Because
know.
I was like,
He has
Luchador
a
with like
spray
a.
can.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking there's a different Dirty Sanchez then. Never mind.
He's Laredo, but he took me technically. Oh my God! See, again, damn backstory. But this is the same day, I promise. This is not weeks before, but whatever.
Okay.
Long story short, in a way, he was beneficial to getting me out there in a sense, but I eventually grew to learn that he's like a bad influence and just kind of like, like, oh, my way's the right way, kid, kind of thing or whatever. But literally, I remember the day going to Hidalgo at like that, it was like a boys and girls club, like a nice little gymnasium there. And we were leaving early in the morning to go to the show because it was like an early afternoon show. Me, actually Kyrie and Sanchez. And so we go to his house and he storms out all pissed because I kid you not, the guy has his wife there and he has like, if I'm not mistaken, like maybe 8 to 9 kids. No joke.
I love it.
Ranging from like high school to like toddler. So all of a sudden
he's been busy.
Yeah,
now I see why his name is Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah. But he spells it Derdy, so not with the T, if you get me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so technically. So he walks on out to the car, and he's like, "Oh, man, the wife's mad. We got to go buy milk." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we go to the Walmart that's like right there and come back, and it's like, "All right, cool." And then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, he comes back, and he's like, "Now, you know what? You drive too slow. Give me the keys." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I know a different route." It's like he was just not having it that day. Like, he's criticizing my driving, and he's criticizing everything. I'm like, sure, I'm not the one driving, whatever. So we make it to the show and all that. And I guess a name that still would be kind of known today is kind of the one who heard about me in a way, because I think they were unsure about me and Kyrie going because they knew Dirty more than me, or more than us. What's his name? The Nurse or Nightmare, like those two guys kind of like were like, okay.
Oh, Paul Titan?
Paul Titan? No. No, this is way before Paul Titan, before I knew him. But
okay.
Yeah. So we were there, and holy Jesus, man. This is when, oh, man, I'm just going to be blunt. This is when I was, you got to look up a new word for green, because that's what I was at that time. Because I was still, barely getting the hang of it. I knew one or two basics things, and I was in this tag match, and I had one of the guys in a headlock, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like wrenching it, yeah, and then I'm like, hey man, what's next? Like, whatever, working it, because he didn't really call anything, and I just hear, just wrench it. I'm like, okay. So I'm wrenching the headlock for what feels like forever, and I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. He's just like barely even moving. All of a sudden, he just freaking latches me for a back suplex and nearly drops me on my neck. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh.
And I don't know what that was all about. And to this day, I mean, not to give him any notoriety of his name, because I'm still not really, good with him. I don't want to get his name out there, because it's like, oh, that gives him a purpose to, get famous, I guess. But, in the back, he's just there like, yeah, whatever. Like, he just doesn't have the attitude to like he acts like he doesn't want to be there, because I've worked with him ever since, and he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever, I'm just here, let's just do this, I don't care. And it's like, that's just bad vibes to be around. So that was my first Valley experience, and it wasn't even with a guy from the Valley, mind you. So that was something, man. And WR was in 2019 in February when I finally debuted there. So that was quite some time apart.
Oh yeah.
Was that the time you're wrestling Matt Riot, WR wise?
No, actually, it was a show before that. I teamed with oh boy, wow. Now that I think about it, I teamed with Psycho Joey. We know who that is.
Yeah, because the first time I saw you was against Matt Riot, and one of the guys that used to come to us at the show, he was like, oh, well, this guy pretty much was an encyclopedia. He would like look at everything on YouTube and whatever, and he's like, oh, that's Dyl Dempsey. I'm like, all right, this guy's legit. Yeah. And then we'll just fuck around. And then I think that night you told us, man, y'all pretty cool and shit, and it was good shit.
Oh man. But you were close. It was the show before the Matt Riot one.
So let's just keep it from the Valley. Right now, who do you think is the one of the best wrestlers in the Valley so far that has like shown work in and out?
I mean, that's a good one, because there's some that have been like, and this is like no offense at all. This is not to offend, but like, I'm not really going to go specifics on this part with names, but there are some that are content with being really good in just the Valley that don't really want to venture out more. And it's a shame, because a lot of places, especially in the North, like where there's, less, oriented crowds that are used to that kind of style that they have in the Valley, like they can need some stuff like that, like a breath of fresh air. So they choose to do that, which is fine. Like they're doing their part, they're training, they're taking care of people. That's fine, but I've noticed that with a lot of guys, except like maybe a certain few, like of course, Danny Chance, he's gotten himself out there these past few years to these places and seminars and all that. And he's really good. I've had one of my best matches against him in Eagle Pass of all places. And I can tell you, this guy back and forth is really good. And I love working with him, being in the locker room with him. He's just a good guy overall. And someone to me who's really underrated, I would probably go with a guy like Colin Hawk, honestly, because he's perceived as something else, because of life. I'm not going to get into that because some people know about his past and all that. But honestly, he's one of the most smoothest, solid guys I've ever been in there with. And I can tell you that from experience. And he just has that chill, like, demeanor. And it's very relaxing. It's like, Con, right? That's a night off, basically. So those are like two of the guys I can think of at the top of my head, if anything.
So, what would you say the best promotion in Texas? What's the best promotion that you wrestled for in Texas?
Man, that's a tough one, honestly. But although, I would put this one up there in a way, even though it was very brief that I was there. Lions Pride, the Houston Carson show. I was there for like their annual Rumble, and it was just, so professional. It was at a nice area in College Station, Bryan, Texas, and all that. And it was really good. I would like to go back there one day, most definitely. And World Class Pro Wrestling, they're mainly in Oklahoma, but they have like a Texas thing that they do on Thursdays in like downtown Carrollton near Dallas. That place is like, it almost looks a lot like the WR venue, but smaller. It has that vibe of WR, but it's just like a more condensed, like old school-ish area. And I don't know. There's more good than bad, honestly. So it's hard to pick just like one. You get me? So those are the ones that stuck out right away.
And any promotions in heavy metal?
I was waiting for it. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I was like, I know heavy metal's in there.
Of course, yeah.
And any promotion in Texas that you haven't wrestled for that you'd like to wrestle for?
Yeah, a few. One that I've been trying to get into is GCWA for a little bit. I've never been there. And Texoma Pro, that's like in more north of Texas, but I've seen good things about those guys. Texoma, VIP in Dallas, and I'm trying to like venture, because I've been to like almost somewhat every region of Texas in a way, except like that very top northish part, like Amarillo and Lubbock, because they've got some things going on there too. It's a hell of a drive, obviously, but hey, I've seen they've got good talent there, so it's like, hey, your boy wants to wrestle, let's see what I can do. So
let me see. All right, so any company you would like to get signed anytime soon?
At this point, I've come to grow and to realize that at this moment, it's not, like, to me, it's not, I can't think of the word, not important, but not, worth going through the stress of focusing on just one place, because then you're going to feel, dejected. You're going to feel like, oh, what did I do? What can I do to get better? But look where we are now. Look at how many places have a television deal now. How many places have just grown like the past few years. Like, for example, MLW, AEW, all those, places, even like WWE, of course, and all those promotions, NWA as well. Like, the goal for me, at least now, is like to get signed, at this point anywhere, to at least, live that experience of like, oh, this is the big time. This is the real deal, a different environment that I could grow into. So, if one day I do get signed to a bigger company, and if that ladder keeps going up, it's like, hey, I know how to conduct myself. I know what to expect, and like I'll feel ready to go. Like, if that answers your question.
Yeah. That's a great answer.
Yeah, especially like nowadays. I wouldn't say. Oh, we got the power of the internet is amazing. I feel like now you.
Oh yeah.
You could just go anywhere and you'll be exposed to many, as opposed back in the day when it was just either
word of mouth.
It's like, oh, you heard of this guy? Oh, what does he look like? Or it's like, the big leagues was just TV. Now it's okay, you can get signed to this indie promotion with like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, or this one random promotion where they get like 100,000 views or whatever, and they put out a pay-per-view for like $5 on like Fight TV or something, Or now it's like what GCW is doing, where they got their shows, of course they put some matches on YouTube, but then of course they also got their big pay-per-views on on Fight TV. So it's like now it's like it's possible to make to be in the big leagues, but also like get some exposure like that without having to commit to going to one place.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's why, like, I've seen a lot of companies that I've been with, like for example, Heavy Metal, Lucha Brutal, LWA, that like stream their stuff on multiple sources. It's like it could take just one person to be like, hey, you see that guy? Forward it to this guy, and maybe the guy he forwarded to knows somebody who knows somebody, and it could be an endless like possibility chain of like, some guy happened to stumble upon one of your matches, they like what you see, and like, hey, let's give them a tryout, or let's give it a shot. Like, it's more possible nowadays, which is like good and scary at the same time, because
you can easily go from just being, I wouldn't say no one, but like lesser known, to being on like a global scale. Like the first person that comes to my mind is Nyla Rose with AEW.
She just went from being this.
She just went from being this small. I literally remember she just seen her on one of the press conferences, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" And like watching her backstory. She's on the more like northeast coast, right? Like the Seattle, Washington area. Or no, that's outside. I'm bad at geography. Anyway, she was from like the Seattle, Washington area, and now here she is. AEW second time AEW Women's Champion. It's like it's within insane. A matter of a night. Same thing with someone like Joey Janela. He went from again just being small time deathmatch guy to had that big video where you got with him and Zandig. Next thing you know, he's on like ESPN.
And has those spring break shows and all that.
Oh yeah, and he's doing his gig with AEW, and he's still doing his time with GCW.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I mean, of course.
Again, he literally went from being just kid in the indies to having this infamous clip on ESPN to having his own shows during WrestleMania weekend to being in the big leagues in AEW. It's insane.
Yeah, and one small example I could give, because especially this is the most recent one I could remember. Y'all know of Raquel from NXT, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Reina Gonzalez.
Yeah, she's from Hidalgo, isn't she?
Yeah, she's from Hidalgo.
A Valley girl. Yeah. Funny thing is, when I was kind of breaking in as well, this was like barely my second year in, I refereed a show that she was on, and that's when I first got introduced to her, and I'm like, oh wow, she seems cool. Of course, I noticed she was tall and she was good looking and she could work, and I'm like, you know what, that's cool. It was a whole bunch of like Austin talent and all that, and like Carrizo Springs, I think, like in the middle of like, Texas, that small town, and she went to LWA soon after that, and it went to All Over, and less than 2 years later, boom, she's in the Women's Classic, and then she's in NXT. I'm like, whoa, that was too fast to process.
Mm-hmm.
with all these shows getting canceled, with what's going on with the COVID-19 and everything, what are you doing to like keep yourself busy? Are you binge watching stuff on Netflix, or are you joining in on these challenges like the C10, do 10, C50, do 50, stuff like that? What are you kind of doing to keep yourself busy? Or are you doing the C50 wings and eat 50 wings?
50
like
wings. Well, I'll tell you what I've been doing and then how I kind of feel like about like, those trends that are going on. This is just kind of like me as a person, but of course I can't train right now. Sadly, I don't own a ring, but 5-Star being in Laredo, the owner of it's like, oh no, like he's really strict on this whole like quarantine thing and whole limit the people in a place deal. So we lost that. And so now I'm just, incorporating more workouts at home just to keep busy. And I'm watching some of my footage, some of other people's footage, watching footage of like everything wrestling, to kind of keep me at ease. Catching up on some video games I haven't caught up in live shows too, like everything, like the stuff I would normally do on a summer, like after school. But now that wrestling's out for just a little bit, except like one day out of the week, which is like a small taping in McAllen, the new breed quarantine thing. But
yeah,
hey, it's something, and when it comes to these challenges, I've always kind of soured on those kind of trends because this goes way back to like, I don't know if y'all remember, but like at the time where there was like the cinnamon challenge and there was like the burning challenge, like to see what's out there and what's popular just because, hey, I got to do it too. My philosophy is like, no, because then you're going to be in a crowd where everyone's doing everything. It's hard to stand out. I'd rather just do my own thing. You get me? Like I'm that one separate guy in the pack, so I've always kind of soured on those, especially like 10 years ago when things were viral, like crazy, like with these challenges that would harm people and all that. And like these don't harm people. Don't get me wrong. Like the C10, 210 and all that. But it's like, I mean, I do it on my own time with the workouts, but I really wouldn't want to post it because it's like, well, I'm really strict on like posting wrestling things. And then if I had a personal profile, all right, cool. Here's what I'm doing. I'm eating pizza or whatever, what everybody does. But yeah, just catching up on stuff, trying to keep my mind at ease, distracted as possible, but hoping all this blows over soon because this is kind of annoying to me. So.
And what's your go-to like tape to study? Like who's your go-to guy when you're studying tapes? Like, do you go for like an Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko? Like, who do you study aside from yourself?
That's a good one. I study, different people mainly for different reasons instead of just one. If you get what I mean. Like, for example, I'm trying to get into more like early. Like Chris Benoit, like when he was Pegasus Kid, like in Japan and in Mexico, and like just how smooth and how intense, little things such as transitions are. Like I want to, study a little bit of that movement and incorporate it. Eddie's also another one when it comes to the same thing, and especially with Lucha Libre, like whenever I want to smooth up that style as well, seeing that I've trained both American and Lucha, so it's might as well mix them both. Triple H as well, like when he was just barely getting into no, this was like in maybe 2000, 2001 when he had like that aggression and had like the simple style, like being that aggressive kind of brawler. Like I kind of want to incorporate some of that, like if I'm in a street fight or if I'm in a stipulation match where wrestling's like not the main objective. So, just a bunch of guys. There's not really like one I specifically study.
Now you're really good on the mic. Like I think you're, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say underrated. You're kind of overlooked, but you're really good on the mic. Who are like some of your influences, like when it comes to promos?
That's a good one. Because as far as I can remember, I think towards middle school, like in the mid 2000s, more or less, I would randomly just, okay, I don't know if you all will perceive me as weird or anything, but you know how like how in the wrestling games nowadays there's a universe mode.
Mm-hmm.
I like in my head, I would imagine that like this was back when Dyl Dynamite was still a thing. I'd imagine in my head my own universe mode and kind of incorporate it to like what's going on Raw, SmackDown, ECW at the time. This is how long ago this was, and I'd cut these promos on certain things and just never like with a character per se. It was just like myself amped up and more intense, more aggressive. Put wrestling lingo in there, but when it comes to promos, a few people come into mind. Like when I'm serious and kind of have a high intellect, obviously Jericho 2008 when he had the suit, it was more serious and like wasn't seen as like that goofball that would yell, "Come on, baby," you know, back then. Like he convinced people he changed, you know. And believe it or not, also in a way like The Miz when he was cocky and arrogant and younger, like when he was still like with the Miz TV thing, like in ECW, like way back when, you know, when he had the mohawk and all that. Honestly, just some of like those guys, because with everybody else, like my mentality was, okay, I don't want to try to imitate somebody that's like, you get me, and then the fans will pick up on it like, oh, you're just a wannabe insert wrestler here, you know. So I try to mix each and everything to like blend it into my own in a way.
And that's the thing. Like when I see you cut promos, like you don't really remind me of anyone. You're kind of like your own thing, and you're so quick witted, and you're so like me and Julio. Like for example, like me and Julio will be in the crowd, and we'll say something, and you'll like pick it up and say something, and it's like you don't really remind me of anything, but you're just that good. Like
you're sharp.
Yeah, you're very sharp. You're very fast. You're quick witted. Like it's crazy, and like I said, I think it's very overlooked, especially in like WR, or like where the WR crowd is. They kind of do their own thing, and they don't really care about storylines, it seems. But
usually, yeah.
But I guess since we're in the talk of promos, we have a segment.
Oh yes.
Oh
dear. Chase has been itching.
Yes,
sorry.
Do you want me to introduce it or?
Well,
whoever.
Yeah, I'll let you introduce it, and then I've got a topic since the last podcast the audio was kind of messed up, so we'll go with the same theme. But I'll let you introduce it.
So, I have been waiting for this. So we had this segment. We were gonna debut it last week, but like Adrian said, we had some audio issues. So you're gonna be now the official first ever recorded person to do this segment. So we have the segment. It's called Roast That Pig.
Oh.
So the rules go. So there's two parts of this. You're gonna have to cut a 60-second promo on the topic that Adrian chooses, and then after that, you're gonna have to do a 60-second promo roasting either any one of us or all three of us as a collective.
All right. I dig it.
All right, Adrian, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I've got the timer ready. I'll give you a few seconds to kind of, get yourself into promo mode. We did this last time with Remedy, but the audio was kind of messed up, and he only did the roast, where he chose somebody to roast. But I guess you got to cut a 60-second promo on WrestleMania 36.
WrestleMania 36. All right.
No fan. So let me know when you're ready, and I'll start.
All right. Just do like a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and when I hear 1, I'll give it like a second, and then I'll go.
All right, perfect. So 3, 2, 1.
WrestleMania 36. More like COVID mania, or no, cancel mania. Because to be honest, WrestleMania is not the same with less than, 10 people. Hell, no people. Not having 50,000 plus every single year, chanting, screaming, going crazy for all the matches. It's not the same to me. That's not WrestleMania. To me, that's just hitting the mute button and watching a simulation. I'm not a big fan of canceling it, but I don't mind postponing it. We need the fans. We need that atmosphere. We need the energy, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels it. All the wrestlers, too, are probably feeling that lack of energy, and it probably hurts them on the inside as much as me watching it. And that's reality.
With 10 seconds to spare. So
Damn.
and it says Dylan Wells left. Did he leave? Was that a mic drop?
That was straight a shoot, Paul.
Okay. That was a mic drop.
Damn. That was straight a mic drop.
Yeah.
No.
We
all know it was secretly Vince McMahon hiking into our podcast and shutting us down.
That's not good shit.
That is not goddamn, pal. What's this?
So since you did it with 10 seconds to spare, for the next piece, we'll add those 10 seconds, and then I'll let you know once the time has expired. So Chase, I think he's already explained it, but I'll explain it once more. In this segment, in this second part of Roast This Pig, you either choose one of us individually and roast them for 70 seconds now, or you can roast everybody all together. Up to you, whatever you want to do, and let me know when you're ready. The timer is set. No holds barred.
All right.
I use as much profanity as you want.
All right, so are you ready, Dyl?
Yeah. Give it a 3, 2, 1.
All right, so 3, 2, 1.
Well, what do we got here? We got the man who takes harder chops than the way DOW has been going down in the stock market ever since this virus. We got a man who's called Chase. Chase what? Chase my entertainment? Because, man, I got to tell you, that'll be a whole another 70 seconds in the future. And we've got Zilla. Zilla. No, not Godzilla. We got Moistzilla. Ooh, as of late, you're as down as the Dow market right now with Julio. Because, there's no shows, no nothing, my friend. Nothing to sell. You're going to be broke as a joke. You three gentlemen together, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, we'll find out which one's Wahlberg, because I can't tell. All of y'all are 3 separate entities into one, baby. You gentlemen need to realize that it's a pleasure having the Realtor of Reality here on this podcast. If you get your views up, if you get those hearts up, if you get those subscriptions up, you're welcome in advance. Wink, wink. And that's reality.
Wow, that was exactly 70 seconds.
Oh, wow. Damn. That was good. Holy
God. Damn, Paul.
Damn, Paul. That was fucking great.
That was great, fucking Paul.
I'm definitely not Marky Mark.
But you're a funky bunch.
I'm a funky bunch.
You're the funky bunch.
That was great. Julio, I know we have that that question that we've been asking.
The 2 pieces of advice.
So, I guess, I'll leave the serious note to Julio. So I guess what advice would you give anyone that's either trying to get into the wrestling business, thinking about training, thinking about just getting into wrestling? Like, what would you, or being a ref, anything, like getting into the business, what kind of advice would you give to someone?
That's a good one. I'm going to incorporate what I think and what I've been told, because for the most part, what I've been told throughout the years kind of sets the bar to the example that I live today. So when it comes to wrestling, just know this. Any shape, any size is acceptable, because the thing a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers look for, the number one thing that they look for is coachability. You've got small, you've got tall, you've got large, you've got small. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the work ethic, the willingness to learn, and the patience to get better, trust me, you will go places. And when it comes to traveling, put in those miles, because they do take you far, figuratively and literally. Promoters, trainers, talent, they'll see that drive, they'll see that work ethic, and all you got to do sometimes is just show up. When, coming from my experience, sometimes just have your gear in the back, show up to a show, shake hands, get your face out there, and it never fails. Hey, Dyl, we had a guy back out. Did you bring your gear? All right, cool. You're in the third match. Go on ahead. You're in the back. Boom. It can be stuff like that. So simple. And one of the biggest things I preach about this business, to kind of close off this question, is respect. Because I treat this in a way like my life. And I've seen so many people abuse that right. In my opinion, it's a right to be a wrestler, a right to be in the business, to call yourself a professional wrestler, a referee, etc., anything that involves in the business, as low as a merch guy to as high as a world champion. Because I've seen it over the years that many people, myself included when I first started, I'm not afraid to say this, just, don't have the time to get properly trained, buy proper gear, look like a wrestler when it comes to your presentation. I'm not talking about body type, but I'm talking about, hey, those are wrestling tights, those are wrestling boots, elbow pads, whatever you need, boom, Because a lot of people can disrespect it by showing the fans like, hey, is this really wrestling? What's going on here? It looks like people just got up from the audience, got into the ring, and the bell rang. I've seen so many of that to a point where it's like, how do we present this as real wrestling? Because we want to be larger than life. That's one of the biggest things I've gotten told. Wrestlers are supposed to represent being larger than life, because look at us when we were kids. We liked guys like Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H. What's the one thing that made them stand out? They were larger than life individuals. And that's all I got to say about that. Essentially stuff along that line.
Good advice, man.
Oh, yeah. Damn good advice.
Great advice. Really hope the listeners take that advice getting in the business. So let's get to more topic of it today for the COVID-19. Any advice you want to give out to anybody, whether it be wrestling, non-wrestling, about the situation that we're going on today?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could get serious for a moment, let's see if y'all know who quoted that one. If not, look it up. When it comes to this situation, honestly, with everything that's out there being reported and such, I'm just going by what I've researched and what I've read. This coronavirus, COVID-19, is nowhere nearly as fatal as your annual flu. And the reason that there's panic and chaos is because the coronavirus is originated from Asia, not an American, well-known disease. Because who knows, before late last year, did we even know about this? This was probably something that, it sounds like the word corona. Well, what is it? But nowadays it's being very serious. The precautions of quarantine right now and everything with the curfews, to me, is a little bit extreme, but I can understand why. I've grown to accept that I understand why this is going on. My biggest problem throughout all this is everybody, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier off the record, of how there's people, at 5 a.m. at your local supermarkets, Walmarts, gas stations, everywhere, just hoarding up like it's an actual apocalypse. No. This is not the end of the world. We're not going to see that for our lifetime. I can guarantee that. This will be thousands upon millions of years from now when this happens. So my one thing is, guys, please be considerate. Think of your neighbor. Think of your family. Do you really need that much toilet paper, that much water, that much food? Because I've known people that have gone anywhere from, no joke, 15 to 20 gallons of milk, and 18 of those are going to be done in 2 weeks anyway. Who drinks that much milk? I don't know. But think about it, people. Just, of course, be cautious, but please be reasonable. And with all these shortages going on, that's why most of this panic is going on, because of the fear of shortage, not the fear of the virus. Now it's a mixture of both. So just think logically, guys, and responsibly. That's all I got to say.
And I guess to answer your question, who needs that much milk? Kurt Angle.
I was thinking that too. Milkomania.
I mean, he does drink it all.
Just to lighten up the mood, because that was intense. I was like, damn.
It's from the heart, man. I had to let it out.
That was heavy. That was some heavy shit, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I had to let it out, man. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, dude.
You're very right about that. All these shortages, like I said, it's not all the virus. Some people may be hard and whatever, but you don't want to spread it out. And also, the problem is also the people just making it a bigger deal, taking everything out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Chase, anything you want to add up?
Honestly, I'm still like in shock of all that shit, because that shit was just like so real and was just like, damn, that.
Hey, he's a Realtor Reality.
I was gonna no. Honestly,
full circle.
I didn't want to ruin the moment afterwards, but in my mind, I was going, and that's reality. In my head, I was saying that, but I didn't want to, one, steal his thing, two, ruin the moment.
I'm gonna roast you for another 70 seconds.
All right, let me start the timer.
Oh, fuck that. Let's do it.
Nah. Dude, we're good here.
Next time we have you on the show.
The roast of Chase.
Next time, 1 hour of Dyl roasting Chase.
And start now. No, I'm just kidding.
And here we go.
So I don't think I asked this question yet. So after all of this is over, I'm hoping at least in about a month and a half, or 2 months, who would you like to wrestle?
Man, it's another one of those cases. If it's hard just to choose one. But one guy I would love to tangle it with is Dirty Andy Dalton. Never had a match with him one-on-one.
Yes.
Dirty Reality.
Oh,
Dirty,
hey, that's got a nice ring to it. Huh?
Yeah. That's if we make amends after like a 6-month feud or something. But hey, you never know.
I love it. Book it, Dylan.
Dunbar. All right,
Dunbar.
yeah, sure. It's like, wait, I'm Dylan too. Which one are you talking about?
I know. I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. Hold up. Dunbar. Dylan Dunbar. Book it now.
Sure. Let me get my imaginary pen and write it down. Sure.
Yeah, I was just saying, just go make some creator wrestlers in 2K20 and we'll just do it then.
You know what? Yeah, sure.
All right, so I guess we'll wrap things up here. Dyl Dempsey, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Anything, do you have any merch or something so the fans can support you?
I'm actually working on that. I do have a bunch of pictures signed and a bunch of shirts. I just haven't been able to like transfer that to online. So I think the least I'm gonna do is at least make out a post for orders and have them personally shipped over there. Because I've done that before years ago, but I never was able to get a website up like Pro Wrestling Tees. But I'm working on that actually.
Should people just message you on social media?
Yeah, of course. I got the box of shirts ready and I got the pictures. Just to kind of plug it out there, each picture I sign is $1, and every shirt that I have, all sizes are $10 each. So it's like, might as well get rid of them. So.
And where can we find you? Like on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
On Facebook, it's just straight up Dyl Dempsey, the fan page on there, and on Instagram, all lowercase, it's Dempsey956. That's where I post videos, pictures, stuff that you wouldn't see on Facebook. It's more of like a highlight-oriented page to get myself out there. And I'm not very, I don't want to say savvy, but I'm not, into the Twitter thing that much, but I still have one, and I'm on it from time to time, and it's Dempsey ROR913 for Twitter.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Any last words, Chase, Julio, before we let Dyl
I'm
go?
good.
No, I'm good. That's it.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yep.
So again, thank you for coming on and shooting the shit with Wrestlevlogs.
Hell yeah. That should be the name of y'all's show. Shoot, like the whole thing.
I think this one already has the name.
Shooting the shit. It's great. But thanks. Thank you, Dylan, and stay safe out there.
Thank you for being on the show, man.
Don't
Yeah,
hog
y'all
all,
too, man.
don't hog all the milk.
1 gallon at a time.
Very scary. All right, well, we'll let you go. Thank you, Dylan.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Man. Take it easy.
All right,
Good
Ladies.
night.
Night.
All right. Any social media guys? Zilla.
Instagram, that's Moichzilla. That's MoichZilla. Twitter, that's Merchzilla. That's MERCHZIILLA.
Chazo.
All right. All right. So you guys can follow me on Instagram at El Chazo. That is ELCHAZZZO. Same thing at Twitter, except it's El Chazo, but with 2 Z's. That's pretty much where you guys can find me and see my bullshit.
And of course, follow Wrestlevlogs. Follow Wrestlevlogs on all social media platforms at Wrestlevlogs for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all the same handle. You can follow me, Julio, on Instagram, Julio_VASKES2. And on Twitter, it's pretty much the same thing, Julio_VASKES without the 2. And you can shoot us all a message on regards to who you want to see. You want to get, the book or is Zilla. In the right, Zilla.
That's right.
You can message us too. It's cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Fuck it.
Zilla.
If I may cut a little promo here, the difference between us and that other podcast is that this is for the fans. We are for the people. We don't gatekeep here and hold titles for ourselves. We do it for the fans.
Ain't that right? 2005 Volkswagen Jetta.
Yeah.
That piece of shit's gonna be a champion for 2 months. Yeah, have you guys thought about this? That piece of shit is gonna be the longest reigning champion because of this motherfucking coronavirus.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. So to close it off, so be nice to people and wash your fucking hands.
Wash your fucking hands.
So thank you guys for the support. Don't forget to follow us and stay safe.
Laters. Wash your fucking hands.
Wear 2 fucking gloves.